This is a view of the old municipal bank overlooking Centenary Square in Birmingham city centre. The University of Birmingham purchased this building about 3 years ago, and we have been renovating it for nearly 2 years. I'd like to take you on a tour of the building to give you a flavour of some of the spaces we're creating within this historic structure. To start with, however, I think it will be useful to show you how the building fits within the urban context. So this is our building in the centre of the screen. And that is the ICC and Symphony Hall at the bottom edge of the screen. Beside that is the Rep Theatre, and beside that is the new library building. Here is Baskerville House, which is currently home to the Mayor's office. This is number 1 Chamberlain Square, recently completed and occupied by PricewaterhouseCoopers. And this is number 2 Chamberlain Square, which is still being fitted out, ready for occupation. Here is the Town Hall, and in the top left corner of the screen is the Council House on Victoria Square, containing Birmingham Museums and Art Gallery. On the right-hand side of the screen, to the west of the bank, stands the Hyatt Hotel, and to the east of our building is the HSBC headquarters. South of our building is a new constructed building for the Treasury, which has just been handed over to the contractors for the final fit-out. All of these buildings surround Centenary Square with the Hall of Memory and the new fountains. Wrapping around to the west and the south of our building are some new areas of urban realm, a pedestrian route linking Broad Street and Holiday Street, and a new square called Bank Court. In December 2019, the trams started running. They left New Street Station, past the Town Hall and terminate directly outside our north entrance. Works are already progressing well to extend this service up Broad Street to 5 ways. Finally, there are several large brownfield sites which we fully expect to be developed in the next 5 years. We're right at the centre of an exciting urban regeneration project in the heart of the city. This is what we expect the building to look like when we've removed the scaffolding and reopened its doors. It's a building which stands out beside all these large new office blocks because it is historic and because it is different. It may seem small from the outside, but it's a bit like the TARDIS because it feels large once you get on the inside. If we were to walk around to the south, we'd see the new facade that we're creating here. This provides a second accessible entrance into the building so that everybody can come in and out without any assistance, and is a modern reinterpretation of the historic northern facade. Now, progress on site hasn't slowed that much during the pandemic, so one of the challenges we've faced is how a large client-side team is able to keep checking the contractors' reports of their progress without unnecessary site visits. To do this, we've procured a series of 3D visual surveys. These allow us to dive into a model of the building, to walk through the spaces and take a look around. It's a little like an internal version of Google Street View. So this is the view just inside the main entrance. Those are the main entrance doors on the right-hand side of your screen now. But beside those are the historic stained glass windows which we're retaining, and you can see the ceiling which we're about to start renovating. The whole building is wrapped around a large 2-storey banking hall, which is currently filled with a birdcage scaffold. So this view was captured not recently but in November 2018. Even before we started work, this was a large, impressive space. But we have reinstated the roof light and are developing this space primarily into a vibrant cafe bar, which will serve as the beating heart of the building. Aside from the bar itself, all the furniture here is relocatable, so we have the opportunity to use this space in a variety of ways as we seek to engage with and influence those around about us. Back into October 2020, and standing to the west of the banking hall, we can see the scaffold filling the space. But as we turn around, we can step into one of 2 project rooms, each of which can take 25 people. These will be set up for leadership seminars, continual professional development and other events. A folding wall between the spaces will allow a group of up to 50 to meet. Walking around the banking hall to the south, we come to the new entrance foyer. You can really get a feel for the size and shape of the space. Floor-to-ceiling glazing means the space has great views of Bank Court, the new square to the south of the building, and you can see the circular lobby in the centre of the screen now. If we were to carry on walking around the banking hall further, you can see the scaffold and the light pouring down through it on the left-hand side of your screen, but we can then turn right and have a look into the student incubator, or the space that we're going to convert into the student incubator. This will be a vibrant, fun space to work for students who are setting up their own businesses and who need a stepping stone between their time at university and the world of work. Walking further around the banking hall, we're now stood in one of the original octagonal lobbies, and we'll head up the stairs to the first floor. We're now on the first floor and walking along the corridor overlooking Centenary Square. We renovated that barrel vaulted ceiling, and if you were to be able to look out of these windows, there's scaffolding in the way so you can't at the moment, you'd be able to see the new library and the Rep Theatre from here. This corridor on the west of the building, I have a photograph of it as it's been decorated since we did the survey. But if we step off this corridor, we come into a sequence of 3 bookable project rooms on the western elevation. Each of these is a different size and character. 2 of them have got furniture which allows the layout to be reconfigured, and all are well provided for in terms of audio-visual installations. The middle one of these spaces used to be the bank manager's office, and still contains the original walnut panelling. These spaces have interconnecting doors and can be used as a suite or individually. Here's a visual showing how this space should look by the time we've finished. If we step out of these spaces and head around to the south of the banking hall, we come into a space which has great views across Bank Court. It will be used as a hot desk space for members of university staff to work as and when they need to. This will contain a range of furniture types to suit a range of different needs, hot desks, comfortable seating, and there'll be facilities for making hot and cold drinks. If we continue walking round the banking hall on the first floor, we're heading around to the eastern side of the building into an office which has been designed for 18 or 20 people. There are currently 2 single occupancy offices which could be very easily converted later into 2 small meeting rooms by switching the furniture around. Initially, this space will be used by the WM Ready team, and here's a visual showing what the space might look like when we're done. If we leave the WM Ready office, we can then head further up the northeast staircase onto the second floor of the building. This will bring us into the boardroom. Like the bank manager's office, this was clad in walnut panelling. Unfortunately, this has been taken into storage so that we could remove the asbestos from behind it. This has allowed us a little more flexibility in the way that we adapt the space, and we've been able to install the barrel vaulted ceiling. This reflects how the room used to be before adaptations in the 1970s and 1980s. If we step back in time again, I did say this building was a bit like the TARDIS, didn't I? Then we can see what the room looked like before we started. You can rest assured that the panelling is being stored safely off-site and will soon be returned and reinstalled, so this room will retain its original character. The 3 windows to the south of this room open out onto a roof terrace. If we leave the boardroom, we head along a corridor to a small breakout area that we've formed overlooking the structure of the roof light over the banking hall. One advantage of a virtual tour is that we can now move to the other side of the banking hall roof. As we pass through the space, you can see what this looks like above the new banking hall. And we can have a look a little bit further down at the coffers on which the roof light is built and are currently being restored by specialist conservation contractors. The circular window here looks into the roof void from the other end. We're now in the south foyer on the second floor and can look around. Like the entrance space on the ground floor and the hot desk space on the first floor, this has great views across Bank Court. Guests who are waiting to go into a conference or to enjoy a meal can share a drink and step out onto one of two balconies which lead from this space. Here's a visualisation showing what the space should look like when we're done. We can leave this foyer and move through to the assembly room on the west of the building. This used to be the staff canteen when the building was first opened, although from historic photos it's clear that it was used for a wide range of different functions, from dinner dances to celebrations to more formal events. We're planning to use this space for conferences for up to 120 people in rows, or meals for 70 or 80 people around banqueting tables. Here is a visual showing how the assembly room might look when we're completed. Clearly here it's set out for a meal around tables, but we can set it out so that it can be a more formal conference layout. You wouldn't normally be able to get here, but this is a view from the roof. You can see the arched windows of the assembly room, and as we turn we can look out over the new roof light. Down to the left is the boardroom terrace, and we'll head there in a moment. This is the space that you can break out from the boardroom, so you can see the three openings into which we are putting new doors so that you can walk out from the boardroom onto this roof terrace. We'll now head from the very top of the building down onto the deposit floor, and we're stood at the northeast corner of the main vaults, and we'll head down the corridor towards the entrance to the main vaults. As we step into this space, we can see the original safety deposit boxes lining the walls. We are retaining and restoring these. The freestanding vault boxes in the middle of the space are not original and are being removed so the space can be used for events and exhibitions. Here is a visual showing how the space could look. So that's it. I've shown you all of the key spaces within the building, but it's so much better in real life. So I hope you get to visit the building soon, and we look forward to welcoming you to the Exchange at the University of Birmingham.